Mocking SpongeBob. This image of everyone's favorite yellow sponge bent over with his hands on his hips and a look of pure, unadulterated judgment has defined internet sarcasm since 2017. It actually comes from a 2012 episode titled Little Yellow Book, where Squidward finds out from SpongeBob's diary that the little guy clucks like a chicken every time he sees a plaid pattern. Naturally, the scene ends with SpongeBob doing exactly that, but the internet saw something much deeper than a paltry impression. It became a global shorthand for mocking someone who says something obvious or annoying. To really sell the joke, we use that alternating uppercase and lowercase text, which somehow perfectly mimics a high-pitched, taunting voice in our heads. It's funny because even though the original scene was just about a weird personality quirk, it now represents that universal feeling of wanting to repeat someone's words back to them in the most annoying way possible. Ight, I'm a head out. This meme features a single blurry frame of SpongeBob rising from his green armchair with a look of quiet, weary determination. While it's often linked to the episode The Smoking Peanut from 2001, where SpongeBob is trying to hide his involvement in a clam scandal, the specific energy of the image is what made it a legend in 2019. It perfectly captures that exact moment of social burnout when you realize a conversation is going nowhere or a situation has become too awkward to handle. His droopy, half-closed eyes don't say, "I'm leaving." They say, "I am physically and spiritually finished with this interaction." It's become the digital nope button for everything from a boring group chat to a meeting that should have been an email. You don't even need to say where you're going. The chair is empty, the sponge is gone, and the vibes are officially over. Homer disappearing into the bushes. This is arguably the most famous exit in the history of animation, featuring Homer Simpson slowly and silently backing into a tall hedge until he's completely swallowed by the leaves. It originated in the 1994 episode Homer Loves Flanders, and here's a fun nerd fact. The move was actually a parody of the T-1000 from Terminator 2. In the show, it was meant to show how creepy and suffocating Homer was being toward his neighbor Ned, but the internet flipped the script. Now, we use it to represent that desperate urge to dissolve into the background when we've said something embarrassing or realize we're in a place we definitely shouldn't be. It's so iconic that the show eventually went full meta, having Homer text a GIF of himself disappearing into the bushes to Lisa in a much later season. It's the ultimate visual for social withdrawal, and 30 years later, it still hits just as hard. Lisa Simpson's presentation. This meme acts as the internet's favorite soapbox, featuring a very serious Lisa Simpson standing on a stage in front of a giant blank projector screen. It comes from the 2001 episode Bye, Nerdy, where Lisa is trying to explain the scientific reason why bullies pick on nerds. It didn't actually become a meme until 2018, when someone realized that her determined, "listen to me" expression was the perfect template for dropping hard truths or controversial opinions. People just Photoshop their own text onto the screen, ranging from actual social critiques to absolute nonsense. It works because Lisa is the character we all associate with being the smartest person in the room who nobody ever listens to. When you see this meme, you know someone is about to give you a hot take, whether you asked for it or not. Surprised Pikachu. This low-resolution capture of Pikachu with his mouth hanging open in a state of mild shock has been the internet's favorite way to call out obvious consequences since 2018. The image comes from a 1997 episode called Bulbasaur and the Hidden Village, specifically a split second where a wild Bulbasaur reflects a sleep powder attack back at Ash's Butterfree. Because Pikachu was just in the background of that shot, the animators didn't spend much time on his face, which gives him that weirdly simplified, off-model look. That goofy static expression is exactly why it works so well as a sarcastic reaction. We use it when someone does something they know will end badly, and then they act shocked when it actually does. It's the visual equivalent of saying, "Wow, I never could have seen that coming," while rolling your eyes as hard as possible. Is this a pigeon? This meme features an android character named Yutaro Katori, pointing at a butterfly and asking a question that makes you wonder if his sensors are malfunctioning. It's a screenshot from a 1991 anime called The Brave Fighter of Sun Fi-Bird, and the context is actually kind of sweet. The guy is a robot trying to learn about nature on Earth, and he's just genuinely terrible at it. It first popped up on Tumblr in 2011, but went nuclear in 2018 as a way to mock people making absurd assumptions. We relabel the butterfly in the text to point out how someone is totally misidentifying a situation, like a guy seeing a girl with a slightly different haircut and asking, "Is this a new person?" It's essentially the anime version of the distracted boyfriend meme, using a 30-year-old animation mistake to roast people for being hilariously wrong. Arthur's fist. This is just a tight, high-definition close-up of an aardvark's clenched fist, but somehow it carries more emotional weight than most Oscar-winning movies. It's from the 1999 episode Arthur's Big Hit, and the context is actually pretty dark for a kid's show. It's the moment right before Arthur punches his little sister for breaking his model airplane. The meme took over in 2016 because it perfectly visualizes that specific, simmering rage you feel when you're trying to stay professional, but you're about 1 second away from losing it. It's not about the punch, it's about the containment of the anger. Even LeBron James used it once to show his frustration with his team, which tells you everything you need to know about its cultural power. It's the patron saint of being annoyed but staying quiet, which is basically the default state of being an adult. This is fine. This image of a dog wearing a little hat and sipping coffee while his house is literally melting down around him is the unofficial mascot of the 21st century. It was created by Casey Green for his webcomic Gun Show back in 2013, during a time when he was personally struggling with his mental health. The dog known as Question Hound isn't just being brave, he's in a state of total blissful denial. We use it to describe the feeling of trying to keep it together when everything from your personal life to the literal climate is on fire. It's been used by political parties, tech companies, and even NASA mission control. It resonates because we've all had those days where the only thing we can do is sit there, take a sip of coffee, and pretend that the world isn't currently ending. It's over 9,000. This is the foundational text of anime memes, featuring a furious Vegeta gritting his teeth and crushing his power-level scouter into tiny pieces. It's from the Dragon Ball Z episode The Return of Goku, and here's the kicker: it was a mistake. In the original Japanese version, the power level was actually over 8,000, but the English dub changed it to 9,000 because it fit the character's mouth movements better. It became a viral sensation in 2006, and basically became the universal unit of measurement for anything that is too much. Whether it's your heart rate after a workout or the number of emails in your inbox after a vacation, if it's a lot, it's over 9,000. It's a reminder that sometimes a translation error can actually become more iconic than the original script. Steamed hams. This refers to a nearly 3-minute segment from a 1996 Simpsons episode where Principal Skinner tries to host a fancy lunch for his boss and fails spectacularly. After burning his roast, he buys fast food burgers and tries to convince a skeptical Superintendent Chalmers that they are actually steamed hams, which he claims is a regional dialect from Albany. The lies just keep escalating until he's claiming the kitchen fire is actually the aurora borealis localized entirely within his kitchen. The scene became a massive meme in 2018 because of its perfect comedic structure and Skinner's absolute commitment to a clearly ridiculous lie. It's been remixed into everything from Gorillaz music videos to video game parodies, proving that a well-written joke about a regional dialect can stay funny for decades. Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man. This meme captures two identical heroes pointing at each other in an old-school shipping yard, each one accusing the other of being a fake. It comes from a 1967 cartoon episode called Double Identity, where a villain named Charles Cameo tries to impersonate Spidey to pull off a heist. It first surfaced online around 2011 and has since become the ultimate way to call out hypocrisy or the pot calling the kettle black. It's so popular that it has been officially recreated in almost every modern Spider-Man movie, from the animated Spider-Verse to the live-action No Way Home. It's the perfect visual for those moments when you realize you're arguing with someone who is exactly like you, or when two corporations are caught doing the same shady thing. Handsome Squidward. This meme features a version of Squidward with a chiseled jaw, high cheekbones, and a look of uncanny, terrifying beauty. It comes from the 2007 episode The Two Faces of Squidward, where SpongeBob accidentally slams a door into Squidward's face, which somehow makes him a supermodel instead of breaking his nose. The humor comes from the absolute absurdity of seeing a grumpy octopus look like he just walked off a runway, especially when paired with dramatic opera music. The internet loves using it to represent a state of unparalleled perfection, or to mock the very idea of conventional beauty. It's a bizarre reminder that in the world of cartoons, even a horrific injury can somehow result in a glow-up that breaks the internet. Caveman Spongebob. Also known as SpongeGar or Primitive Sponge, this meme shows a prehistoric, wide-eyed version of SpongeBob looking incredibly panicked and defensive. It's a frame from the 1999 episode SB-129, where Squidward accidentally travels to the far past. The meme blew up in 2016 as a way to describe that split-second feeling of primal fear when you're caught doing something you shouldn't be, or when you realize you've made a massive mistake. The rigid, ready-to-bolt posture of the character is what makes it so relatable. It's that fight-or-flight instinct we all have when we hear our mom use our full name from the other room. It turns a prehistoric gag into a modern-day reaction for any high-stress situation. Old man yells at cloud. This meme is a simple newspaper clipping from a 2002 Simpsons episode showing Grandpa Simpson shaking his fist at the sky with a headline that describes his actions perfectly. It's a classic joke about how people tend to get angrier at trivial things as they get older, blaming the world for changes they don't understand. In the digital age, it's the go-to response for anyone who is complaining about something completely irrelevant, like a new social media update or the way kids dress these days. It's a visual critique of pointless, get-off-my-lawn energy, and it remains the perfect way to tell someone that they're being a little too dramatic about things that don't actually matter. He-Man sings. This legendary meme isn't just one frame. It's a whole vibe involving the 1980s hero He-Man singing a dance pop cover of What's Up by Four Non-Blondes. The actual footage comes from the original show, but the music and the editing were done by a group of animators in 2005 for a video called Fabulous Secret Powers. The image of He-Man throwing his head back in pure, glittery joy became a symbol of the ultimate high or unparalleled happiness. It completely subverted the macho 80s action hero trope and turned He-Man into a queer-coded icon of surrealist humor. Whenever you see a picture of him against that rainbow backdrop, you can basically hear the high-pitched singing in your head. Futurama Fry. This meme, also known as Not Sure If, features Fry squinting his eyes in deep, suspicious contemplation. It comes from the Season 2 episode The Lesser of Two Evils, where Fry is trying to figure out if a robot named Flexo is actually his friend Bender in a disguise. It's used as a template for navigating life's many ambiguities, usually following the format not sure if one possibility or just another possibility. It works because Fry is famously not the brightest guy in the future, so his attempt at detective work is naturally hilarious. It captures that exact moment of internal debate we all have when we're trying to figure out if someone is being sarcastic or if we're just overthinking things. Nah, I'd win. This meme comes from a specific page in the Jujutsu Kaisen manga where the incredibly powerful and incredibly cocky Satoru Gojo is asked if he would lose a fight against the King of Curses. His response was originally translated simply as no, but fans and official translators later changed it to nah, I'd win, as a callback to an earlier chapter. The line became a meme because of Gojo's overwhelming confidence, which fans started applying to everything from other characters to literal animals. It represents that peak level of main character energy, where you're so sure of yourself it becomes funny, especially considering how intense the actual stakes of the series are. It's the ultimate way to show you're ready for a challenge, even if your confidence is slightly delusional. Tired SpongeBob. This image shows SpongeBob leaning against a cave wall, looking like he just ran a marathon and is about 5 seconds away from a total collapse. It's actually from the same 1999 episode as the Caveman meme, capturing a moment where he's out of breath after trying to live in the wild. It went viral in 2019 because it perfectly illustrates the feeling of being done with everything. We mostly use it ironically to describe how exhausted we feel after doing the bare minimum, like finally answering one email after ignoring it for 3 weeks or just walking up a single flight of stairs. It's a visual representation of adult burnout in its most relatable, low-stakes form. Confused Mr. Krabs. This meme, sometimes called the Mr. Krabs blur, features the owner of the Krusty Krab looking completely disoriented while the world spins in a nauseating blur around him. It comes from a Season 3 episode where he's panicking after a series of chaotic events. It hit the mainstream in 2016 as a way to describe that specific feeling of brain fog or being overwhelmed by too much information at once. It's the face you make when you wake up from a nap and don't know what year it is, or when your teacher asks you a question about the homework you didn't do. The blur effect is what really makes it, perfectly capturing the physical sensation of a mild panic attack. Bugs Bunny's no. This is a close-up of the legendary rabbit looking extremely smug and lazy with the word no edited over his mouth. The original frame is from an old Looney Tunes short where Bugs is falling from the sky and drinks some hair tonic to slow himself down. It first appeared as a meme in 2015 and saw a huge surge in 2019 because it's the most satisfying way to deliver a hard refusal. There's something about his half-closed eyes and the way his tongue is sticking out that makes the no feel incredibly final and slightly insulting. It's the perfect reaction for when someone asks for a favor you have absolutely zero intention of doing. It's simple, classic, and delivers a level of sass that only a 1940s cartoon icon could pull off.